the Grand Prix. And of course, the first 3 laps of field is he may 20 lapper here on Sunday.
Because you feel Fabio Quartararo is going to have good race pace. He proved it here last year with the nature of his victory.
Favourite superstars in MotoGP. The auction, I know, was another rip for supplies on 2 wheels across the majority. Fellow VR46 Academy rider Marco Bezzecchi at one point banged it, but with Fabio Quartararo Anthony pre-event press conference, he said he's got to add
Pecco Bagnaglia's recent races are ups and downs of 2021. Once he got that first mark, awful lot of racing still to be done. 225 points. Yeah, Quartararo's long lap penalty. There's a real opportunity for him.
Jorge Martin there briefly with a decision at some stage in August. But there's been some interesting comments attributed to Ducati and one of the big superstars of this paddock. So that's one story that will unfold at the Loop, turn number 14
in the race. He puts a greater premium on his qualifying performance.
Team boss Lucio Cecchinello. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning. Tyres on. We'll talk about his style and that in a minute. But what are you?
We are a very competitive rider, and as well as for a lot of talent in developing the bike, which is very important for us.
From the outside, as a old 4 style, flowing, and I want
a good question mark, even for us. What the past run style, like the V2, for example, this bike characteristic, and when he took
the listeners are as well to see next year weekend and how it is and machine.
And to definitely achieve we definitely have some working plan this week. We will try our best.
Good circuit in, on that bike, or is that already decided?
Ayogura. Ayogura represents the future. Taka to keep developing the bike because of his knowledge to the Japanese engineer. So together with...
Thank you very much for your time and exciting times for LCR. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And about you, Berg, quickly watching that. Looks like quite a short, long lap here as it would at some other circuits around the calendar.
Goodness of the inline forcing this fantastic ride from 11th to 3rd last time out in our Japanese star in MotoGP, and potentially a future star in the past and present. So Nakagami riding for his future. It's here early on in this session. Now that it's one of the Ducatis, it's very ill, and here you can see Agustus Bagnaia. We did mention him, Simon just mentioned it as well. Fast maggot. So early drama then, and not the return to action that Pecco Bagnaia was looking for after his brilliance last time out in Aston.
As some of the marshals now,
Bagnaia warned yesterday he has to eradicate if he is to take the world. Heading towards Brooklands, and computer says no. Fabio, who else could it be? The British Grand Prix. You'll get an invoice from Jack Miller later on, as the Yamaha.
No audible cut was there. An awful lot of space there out on the grass. You can see how the colour of the grass.
First sector, spectacular sweep, fast change direction through Maggots and Beckett's. A little tweak there, wasn't there, on the left conditions. World Championship will get underway. The first time a World Championship season did start the 2020 World Championship campaign.
For a change of lanes. Leads this session, of course, at the moment. Exhilarating battle on the final lap of the 29 Marquez had the Grand Prix won. Alex Rins picked his pocket, covered by a fraction of a second. It will be another rider who would have wanted the next Grand Prix after Assen to come pretty quickly. Vinales with just one. The mechanical problem that we already saw, and also because he's been testing out the long lap.
A little bit loose in that factory Aprilia through the Cops corner. Trick. What he discovered this year, will it be his only chance, of course, to climb Prix it was, though, from the factory Aprilia battle against the Ducati's Jack Miller, the 4-stroke MotoGP era. Their first since Jeremy McWilliams was on the podium on British soil as well at Donington Park, back in World Championship contenders. 21 points adrift of Fabio Austria in 2 weeks' time.
His alleged Spargaro's teammate Maverick Vinales has made it perfectly clear in the media since that podium at Assen he is prepared to play the team game and help Aleix Espargaro in any way he can. In the background,
Volume turned up and there was no mechanical noise of it breaking, so it's then decided to take the fuel pump. So I think they were just getting rid of any risk. It's got a brand new fuel tank on.
Troubled start to this British Grand Prix. Assen, a pretty fast third gear crash, stayed the same for much longer with Quartararo in 24th spot. Quick check on Pol Espargaro, having had that rib damage in 2 weeks' time back in 2014. Such memorable fashion, brilliant in the tube. The Michelin tyres, he said it was kind of a perfect summary, really, wasn't it? The first 11 Grand Prix.
Ordinary to think that Pol Espargaro is 17 go downhill at the second Grand Prix in Mandalika, didn't it? Where
Is what they're doing here, because it's a crazy. It looks more like they're experimenting with, the
11 as ever on the spot down in pit lane. Great to have your feedback back again. One of the slowest parts of this 5.9 kilometre Silverstone circuit.
right-hander, and the finish line is just on the exit. The rider who we replaced at Suzuki, Maverick Vinales.
Luckiest guys in the world. We've got one of the best jobs in the world, having the privilege to commentate on the MotoGP World Championship, but our vantage point in the beeping through as Lurch's 300 horsepower MotoGP bikes. I remember sat here with Steve Day a couple of one of the most epic finishes, memorable finishes. Now, as all, we might have had a clearer picture of Miguel Oliveira tight and weight, but Oliveira looked like he was a surefire bet to go then. I was expecting some business to have been
here, and conditions, what are the riders here?
All symmetric. Now the riders, they are running.
I mean, just a quick humble then.
Stoke corner.
Through turn 7, yeah, the Stoke perfectly. Katia, back to Simon and Piero.
Yes. Piero, sorry about that.
Here, 26, just for your information. Everybody's with the soft in the front, and then we have to see during the weekend which one will work better. But somebody will try at least the hard front and the hard rear, so we have to see a little bit cool condition. They feel.
I mean, thanks to corner, he had actually just set the fastest first sector pointing. Zarco, this is his worst finish since Aragon last year, the first time. Zarco coming into this round 12, third in the standings on 114 points. He's got on the factory Ducati. Well, he was down early on at turn 4.
The time loss, and obviously get an idea he would any other weekend. Try and qualify on pole position. Ring into various points of this 20 to observe that
to be scorching hot conditions here. We've had record-breaking temperatures in the on Sunday. We're expecting a sort of pleasant around 23.
the fault of what happened for it, Kane, including the overtake of the season so far. The double overtake. Kane somehow got it stopped and earned himself a 4th place fit. And of course, he's been on the top step of it in 2022.
Said he had the pace for that, and behind Marco Bezzecchi, and he controlled and managed that gap at the front in never a session. It's been pretty fascinating so far. Bagnaia was down at turn 4. Now the release is stating he's been doing light weights and the cardio training. Back in the swimming pool for the first full the rehabilitation. He had the operation in Minnesota, didn't he? Straight after the Mugello Grand Prix. It's another long and arduous recovery.
Potential return points that's been speculated in the media. And there is plenty of runoff there on the outside of Stowe. Sean sitting in session 18th position for him at the moment on
into that timber chicane. He thought he'd taken that. We said fair play, chapeau to a later Spargo, because to pass anybody on the brakes in MotoGP into timber chicane is a blockbuster. This last fight out of the grass and the gravel, and I found sub 2 minute laps. Johan Zarco and Pecco Bagnaia, the two men who did away from this man. You can just see how fast that Zarco crashed first, Bagnaia crashed second. Quartararo FP1 thoughts of Monster Energy Yamaha team manager Mario Meregali, who's down in pit.
Practice qualifying and qualifying position, but for Fabio, he won with this one to get. At the end, he gets information about the long lap penalty. But anyway, here, the race is very long straight, and
they're well versed in the grip level.
a very impressive session. Quartararo, despite that only mechanical problem, took 4th ahead of Marco Bezzecchi, the man of the moment from Assen after his first ever podium. Oliveira, Alex Andrea Dovizioso, who has just
session for him, having had that crash at Stoke. How he finished the session, did with a 159.
new tyre in for his 3rd run, so
He spent the whole session on the soft front, medium rear tyre as well. Very, very consistent. A whole bunch of mid to high
4th.
Two with Zarco in ahead of Zarco and Taka Nakagami riding for his LTR Honda future. And Johan Zarco, 4th sector.